Everybody find their seat, please. We will start tonight's festivities. I want to welcome everybody to tonight's dinner, celebrating our second cohort of inductees of our teaching faculty into the League of Educational Excellence. We established this league in 2013. It is comprised of medical school faculty who have made extraordinary contributions to teaching and inspiring our learning community. As I reflect on our tripartite mission, in many ways, education is the most important, because this is how we really send individuals out who will magnify our efforts in clinical care, who will contribute to scientific discovery, who will educate succeeding generations of physicians and scholars. And so tonight we gather to recognize 61 new inductees into the league who are deeply engaged and passionate about education. So this evening is about you. It is about your commitment to our learners, your commitment to the future, your commitment to this mission. Some of you have asked, how was I selected? Well, actually, it was a lottery, and you were just chosen by chance. No, it's because many of you have been previously honored as recipients of the Kaiser Permanente Awards for Excellence in Teaching, either in the clinical or basic sciences. Some of you have received Dean's Awards, such as the Lifetime Achievement Award in Medical Education, but many of you were chosen through nominations by your department chairs as standouts in education. The common denominator is that all of you have this passion, this commitment to our learners at all levels. Because what we're celebrating here tonight is not only medical student or PhD education or resident education, it's also continuing medical education. So it is that full spectrum of learners and dedication to their continued development and improvement that we recognize. With tonight's induction of 61 new members, we have a total of 158 faculty who are members of the League of Educational Excellence. Sadly, as many of you know, we recently lost one of our inaugural inductees, Dr. Roger Grecham, who was a stalwart of our medical and resident education system. He was in the Department of Internal Medicine, but not only taught residents and fellows, but also served as the director of the curriculum for our first and second year medical students. And we remember his many contributions to this medical school. When learners come to Michigan, I really think it is imperative that we provide them the best mentors, the best teachers, the best coaches possible, so that these incredibly skilled young men and women can meet their full potential and achieve their aspirations. When I look at the history of teaching at the University of Michigan Medical School, we have been in the forefront of many seminal changes in how education is conducted, in the curriculum that is presented, and really have been a leader not only in the States, but worldwide. We continue that because education, just like clinical care, just like research, doesn't stand still, and therefore it is imperative that we continue to create, continue to think, continue to have a vision for the future that we prepare these learners for. Just this year, we embarked on a new medical student curriculum transformation that I fully expect will truly transform medical student education. But also, some of you were involved in the first biomedical and postgraduate training conference that we had in Rackham back in May. This was an assembly of individuals who were dedicated to thinking through, how do we change PhD education? How do we change education for our postdocs? Really recognizing the changes in science and career trajectories that these individuals have. And this coming spring in May, we will be the site for a regional conference sponsored by the Macy Foundation regarding innovations in graduate medical education. So across the spectrum, the University of Michigan Medical School continues to be a leader. And for that, I congratulate each one of you because it requires the incredible dedicated effort, the thoughtfulness, the contributions of a multitude of faculty to continue to have this leadership position. But it's not just the faculty, because those of us who are gathered here tonight, family and colleagues, recognize the sacrifice that it takes. All faculty members have full-time responsibility in research, in clinical care, and making the time, as so many of you do, to sit down with a young student, to sit down with a resident, to sit down with a fellow, somebody in your lab, providing counseling, providing wisdom, providing perspective. That's time that is precious. That's time that is not available for family, for other professional pursuits. And so it takes commitment, and I salute that commitment. And on behalf of all of the learners, thank you for the contributions that you have made. So tonight, what we will be doing is celebrating and giving you just a very small token of appreciation for your dedication and the work that you have done. After dinner, we will hear from Dr. Kolars, our Senior Associate Dean for Education and Global Initiatives. And then we will have the privilege of having each one of our new inductees come up on stage and be recognized. But at this time, I encourage all of you to enjoy dinner, enjoy the company at your table, and we will come back in a few minutes for the ceremony. If I could have everybody's attention once again, please. I trust you, like us, had a wonderful time of conversation at your table. And what we'd like to do is continue the program while they're serving dessert and coffee. So at this time, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Joseph Kolars, our Senior Associate Dean for Education and Global Initiatives and the Josiah Macy Junior Professor of Health Professions Education. Joe?
Great. Thank you, Jim. Thank you and good evening. I wish you all had the privilege that I've had of reading the letters and seeing the packets of the 61 individuals who have been put forth for inclusion in this year's League of Education Excellence. So much of education is often invisible, but to all of a sudden see the activities of our colleagues made visible and to see the remarkable contributions that they are making to our entire learning environment. So I was so pleased to see so many of you who are being honored tonight. But I'm also extremely grateful for the letters that were written by chairs, the education leads for the department. Sometimes we all know letters can start to become rote. They can pull out a template and follow a certain pattern. But what I saw in these letters and in these testimonials, something that was coming from the heart, from the leaders of our medical school, in terms of what was important, what were the unique contributions of the education mission. And I hope many of our leaders, like me, looked at these packets, looked at these individuals, and realized, I didn't know we had people like this among us. So I'm grateful for those of you who are being honored tonight. I'm grateful for those of you who took the time to honor them. I think a few words about just our Education League. Education is something, as Jim said earlier, that really binds us together. We're all called doctors. I like the original definition of that term, doctor. It's teacher. Not all of us are clinicians. Not all of us are researchers. But all of us are teachers. Most of us have had other places we could go, but we're here because of the education mission. The chance to be called a teacher. The chance to be transformative in terms of helping people to make care better, helping people to make inquiry better. But I'm so appreciative of our education community because I think for many of us in the education community, we see being a teacher, being an educator, is our primary identity. Right now, there's a lot of work in our environment to measure our activities. Many of us know that we are held to accountable metrics when it comes to clinical care or accountable metrics when it comes to research. And for myself and many of my colleagues, we're trying to wrestle with how do you value education and the education mission. But most of us do this because we think this is what we're supposed to do. And sure, we'd like not to have that threatened or impinged upon, but most of us do this because this is our primary identity, is making learning happen so that it leads to better care, better science, and nurturing the next generation. So I'm really grateful. My opportunities to see other communities around the country and around the world, I've never found in a community like this that is so dedicated to making better learning happen and do accountable education. So thank you. I've got the best job in the world, being able to really think and work and learn alongside you. And I would like to call on a round of applause for our 61 honorees tonight, who are going to be calling up to the stage to receive their inauguration into the League of Education Excellence. Thank you.
So we will have Kelly and Jane come to the tables, and as they come, please just proceed up to the podium and we will recognize you.
And we're also going to be asking you to hold your applause. We just applauded people as a group. We're a learning community, and we will applaud people collectively at the end. So, Teresa Jacobs. Thank you.
Congratulations.
I heard that. Don Brown. That was Dr. Devin Brown. Dr. Linda Selwa. Dr. Anita Valanju Shelgekar. Dr. Praveen Dialu. Dr. Pamela Rockwell. Dr. Joel Heidelbaugh. Dr. Joseph House. Dr. Michelle Carney. Dr. Samel Sozanar. Dr. J. Stewart Wolf, Jr. Dr. Audrey Seaschultz. Dr. Bruce Palfy. Dr. Daniel Michel. Dr. Rick Mortensen. Dr. Maggie Riley. Dr. Christina Gallagher. Dr. Sue Mentor. Dr. John Williams. Dr. Ron Koenig. Dr. Larry Gruppen. Dr. Seetha Monrad. Brent, my friend, good to see you up here. Dr. Brent Williams. Dr. Scott Flanders. Dr. Vikas Parekh. Dr. Frank Warden. Dr. Dale Bixby. See up here, Raj. Dr. Rajesh Mangrulkar. Dr. Michael Lucella. Dr. Michelle Carrard. Dr. Yolanda Helfrich. Dr. Shazad Mian. Dr. D. Fenner. Welcome, congratulations. Dr. Helen Kang Morgan. Congratulations. Dr. Mary Blazik. Dr. Jonathan Maybaum. Dr. James Lopez. Dr. Stephen Lieber. Dr. Heather Burrows. Good to have you up here, John. Dr. John Schmidt. Dr. Terry Murphy. Dr. Daniel Myers, Jr. Dr. David Belmonte. Dr. Gus Buchtel. Dr. Sarah Figueroa. Dr. Nora Naughton. Dr. Jules Lynn. Dr. Reshma Jagsi. Dr. Rishi Reddy. Dr. Theo Polly. Great. Now, if we could have a long-deserved round of applause for all of our award winners, please. And we have one last award that I'm going to draw out a little bit and to end with a toast and then to grab a photograph. And that's for our Dean, James Woolliscroft. So if you could all have something to toast with, it may be a water glass, it may be an empty wine glass, it may be a flower bowl or even a candle. But I would just like to reflect for a moment how much we've all benefited from Jim Woolliscroft over the years. Jim paved the way for most of us who care about education. As you might recall, when Jim was coming up as a junior faculty member, education was seen more as a service line. This is something people do because that's what they're supposed to do. The scholarly space was within clinical or within research. But the whole idea of having education as a scholarly space was a new idea. And I think many of us take for granted that that whole pathway was created and established for all of us by Jim. What he did was bring the whole concept of creativity, not just a service line, not just making the trains run, but how do you make the trains go to better places? How do you be creative in terms of learning? How do you make better learning happen in a way that benefits our community, benefits science, benefits our patients? And that was really a new space for Jim. And that has been something that has been extremely unique. I don't know how many of you have the experience like I do to be traveling around the country and to be known to be coming from an institution where education is so revered. So many people look to us from around the country for the strength of our education bench, the doers, the practitioners, and the people who are creating a new way forward. And Jim created that for us. And I think we are all extremely grateful that he has been our dean over this time period and that he has shaped his career so that education is something that is a very firm leg on the tripartite mission. We've so benefited from his leadership, and I hope you can all join me in standing, grabbing a class, and letting ring loud our gratitude to Jim, and who helps Jim and makes him the man and dean that he is, Beth Woolliscroft, in our thanks for all that he has done for our education community, for our medical school, and for the future of medical education here at the University of Michigan. Cheers. Jim, to you. Thank you. Now, Jim, I get to present you. I've got to tell you, for a Minnesotan, that was probably the most painful thing Jim has had to endure. But clearly a sign of our love and affection and appreciation for what he's done. I'm going to give, for the last time, the last word to my colleague and friend, Jim Woolliscroft. But before doing so, I want to put in a plug for what I'm hoping you will all do. So after Jim closes our evening with a few finishing remarks, I'm going to ask you to come up here for a group picture. And what I want you to imagine, if you will, some of the times when you've maybe drifted around campus and see these old pictures, or maybe stumble into the Bentley and see what it was like 50 years ago. But I want 50 years from now for people to look at this picture, not just see the awardees, not just see the faculty, but see everyone in this room crowded around Jim. This is his home community, the educators. But we are going to try and assemble and get everyone to move forward and crowd around the stage, and we're going to get everyone, so wives, husbands, everyone, for one group picture. And then we're also going to have the people stay behind who are the award winners for this year. So you know how it is, how challenging it can be to assemble everyone. But if we can get this as a tribute to Jim, a tribute to our future, so the years from now, when people look back on this dean, on this era, and know there was a group of people who were particularly attached and grateful to him, that would be wonderful. So before doing that, I'm going to turn it over to Jim for last words. Jim?
And thank you, Joe, and thank you, everybody. That's truly very heartwarming, and I appreciate it greatly. One of the things I think some of you have heard is that whether or not interim is part of your title, I look upon all leadership as interim because we're here for but a time. And during that time, all of us who are privileged to serve as leaders really strive to improve things, to make a difference, to leave something to the next generation of leaders and faculty. And to me, this is an incredible evening. It's an incredible opportunity to recognize people that are committed to that future. I'm very pleased to see the numbers of young faculty engaged in education, passionate about it, and really dedicated to improving the future for patients, for science, for society. And so tonight, I hope that you will recognize that this Block M is but a very small token of appreciation for the countless hours that you spend in service to that mission. Hours that most people don't even see, that too frequently aren't recognized. But I, your colleagues, your learners, future patients, future scientists, thank you. And so with that, please, everybody come forward. As Joe said, one thing you can tell, he's been to China way too frequently, where we have all of these massive group pictures. So we're going to give it a whirl.